Hello, Microsoft, and hello, Windows Inc. team. How are you doing? My name is Brent Knoll, and I am a television animation artist. I work on Rick and Morty, and I wanted to talk to you guys about Windows Inc. today and some of the settings and how it works for me and how it works for us as animation artists who work in the animation field, and we're making art on our computer. So I represent a bunch of artists who basically use a computer like a desktop, and we draw on one of these things, a Wacom Cintiq, and pretty much do that 8 hours a day, every day. A lot of people use Macs. I don't. I love Windows. I'm a Windows guy, and there are some settings about Windows Inc. I think that came up in 1809, and there's been some stuff in the past that have been a little bit distracting for our workflow as artists who use like a big drawing screen, but we're basically sitting at a desktop computer, because I feel like Windows Inc. is a little bit designed for like tablet and stylus stuff, like maybe people who are like don't have a keyboard attached or things like that. So I was wondering if I could work with you guys to help give you some feedback on, I guess, Windows Inc. for maybe like thinking about it as like a kind of like a desktop drawing software. So in the industry, we pretty much draw in Photoshop exclusively, and I have to say, Windows Inc. works really well for that. I think whatever you guys did with Wacom or an Adobe to make Windows Inc. work, it works really good. Like in the before time, back when we had WinTab, or if people who don't, or if you disable Windows Inc. and it goes to WinTab drivers, if you attempt to draw, you get these like terrible jittery lines that are like all aliased and stuff, and this is really bad. And a lot of artists don't know this. They've kind of resisted Windows Inc. and they always tell each other to turn it off. And that's bad, because if you turn it off, this is what you get. It's bad. Like, unfortunately, it's seen as kind of like a meme in the animation world, like, because people who aren't really like tech savvy don't understand what's going on with their computers, and they give very bad advice to each other, and there's just a lot of bad PR around, I think, Windows Inc. because people don't understand. But I do, and I use it all the time. So I want to talk to you guys about something. So one thing that I think is kind of an issue is the changes made in 1809 with regards to like the pen and ink panel and the settings. So for a lot of people, like they had show cursor offs, and so suddenly their cursor disappeared, and that became like an issue. But now if we turn it on, we don't get the like mouse cursor like this. We get this like little dot. So this, I mean, I'm okay with the dot. The dot works, but I kind of liked the mouse cursor better, and I feel like that kind of confused a lot of people, like when it went to the dot. Um, let's see. We have show visual effects. I'm not terribly into that. I always turn it off, but like that's cool. It's just a setting. Okay. This tap text to field with my pen, use handwriting as an input. This is like super confusing as a desktop user. Because if I like go to like use, like if I'm just like working and then I kind of pan over to Chrome, like I click on a text field and like a keyboard pops up like over my screen, like this, like am I supposed to handwrite, I guess? I mean, yeah, this is cool. I can't say that this is very useful as a person sitting at a desktop computer, so I really wish that there was like a very obvious way to disable this. And like the two options are when keyboard isn't attached or only in tablet mode, which I don't think are very clear. Like I think you have to go to only in tablet mode for it to not to work. Um, so yeah, that's a thing. Okay. Um, I have another thing I want to talk to you guys about. Let me turn it on really quickly so I can show you. There we go. Put that on. Okay, so when you plug in a Cintiq to a computer for the first time, there's a lot of stuff that's enabled by default out of the box, I would say. And one of them is this thing right here. If I hover for a second, what? It's not going to do it. I hit apply. Okay. If I hover for a second, um, and I'm about to draw, like a little circle starts animating, and it actually like slows down like what you're about to do, and like a little menu pops up because it thinks you're right clicking. And a lot of people might like sit there and think before they start to draw, and like a little like menu is going to come up like what? This is like super distracting. And it's not a big deal, but the issue is this setting is in the control panel, not systems, like the legacy control panel. And so and you have to go into like pen and touch. And when you type like pen in the like Windows search bar, like this doesn't come up. You have to know to come to the control panel. And like I don't know, I'm like a Windows like 2000, Windows 98 XP like power user, so like I remember this stuff, so I go here, but like a lot of people don't. They don't know about this stuff, and it's kind of an issue. So you have to go to press and hold settings and disable this. Um, and so I guess if my thought process would be if there's a way for you guys to move this over to the Windows Ink like settings or somewhere in the new one, or just consolidate everything into one, I think that would be really awesome. Make some of this stuff a little more forgiving, or probably just have it disabled on default. I'm not sure. Well, it's whatever you guys want to do. Okay, let's talk a little bit about drawing. So one thing that's kind of an issue is, it's a small thing, but Windows Ink will always display like the hotkey that you're pressing, or like all the modifiers, like Control, Alt, and Shift, as you're drawing, which can be kind of distracting. Like it's kind of covering up where my line is about to go. And I really wish there was a way to disable this, because I mean I am definitely aware of the buttons that I'm clicking. I don't like super like need them there all the time to remind me, because they just get in the way. That's just a very small thing, but I really wish that was a setting that I could turn off. Let's see. I think that's it. Oh wait, yes, I know one more thing. So let's say, um, let's talk about like stylus as mouse. Um, as an artist, you're going to be sitting at your computer, you're going to be doing things in Photoshop, and then you're going to click on other things. And certain programs like don't respond to like the stylus now, because maybe they think it's like a touch thing. Like I can't actually move Chrome if I click on it. Now, I mean, obviously this isn't you, this is Chrome, but I feel like there's like, I feel like it's trying to like outthink like what I'm trying to do or something like that. Like I can like click on things and type things, but I can't physically move the Chrome window. I have to go to the mouse to do that. So I feel like there's a lot of like tablet PC type stuff that's like interfering with people who want to use their computers basically as a desktop, but they only want the drawing function. So I guess my pitch to you guys is there like a way, maybe a setting, like a quick kind of like checkbox or something where it could basically disable everything that isn't the actual drawing like API or something like that? Because I can't say that people in the industry like who are artists in drawing like use any of that stuff. Like we're mostly like I'm here for like the drawing part, but everything else is like, well, it's a desktop computer. I need it to work like a mouse basically. So like just drawing plus mouse functions. I feel like that I feel like that like is like patronizing, because like you guys are obviously developing great things for like tablet and stylus PCs, but I really wish there was an option to like not have that stuff, because it has become kind of an issue in the animation industry. Like people don't understand what's going on with Windows Ink. There's a lot of like bad PR. Less informed people always tell each other like, oh, you have to disable that. And then they share these like how to go into the group policy editor and change the registry and disable this stuff. And I'm kind of sitting over here like, guys, like don't do that. Like it's bad. Like you need Windows Ink to draw correctly. It works for drawing. So Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I'm sorry to give you guys all this feedback. I feel like this is very critical, but to be honest, I love what you're doing, and it definitely works. I just feel like the communication and the settings can be very confusing to people who are just plugging in a like a drawing screen or a drawing tablet for the first time, and they're only looking to get like drawing art out of like Windows Ink as a program. And I do think that sometimes Windows Ink interferes with just drawing functions. And unfortunately, like I have to compare it to the OS X experience. When you plug in a tablet or a drawing thing in Mac OS, there's like no settings, nothing happens. It just is a cursor, and when you go into a drawing program, you can draw, and it doesn't do anything else than that. And that's actually kind of a beautiful thing, like that it doesn't there's like nothing to checkbox or anything like that, because that can be very confusing to artists and trying to set stuff up out of the box. Obviously, I don't want to use Mac. I think it's a terrible operating system, but that is like a nice thing about it that I guess they have on, I guess, the like experience of like open box out of the box, like what happens. So yeah, well, I hope this was fun. I'm sorry this was a long video. Love you guys. I think everything you're doing is great. Just wanted to give you some dumb feedback. So let me know. I'll be available if you ever want to chat. You can reach out to me. Oh, and last year I did actually reach out to you guys about a Photoshop thing, and you connected me with Adobe, and they ended up getting it fixed. So thank you so much for that. The problem that was happening last year is now fixed. So you guys are awesome. So please keep up the good work, and I will see you later.